Hello! Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to the second instalment of the Burnout Diaries. Today I'm very tired and sleepy, but that's okay because we're doing a nice soothing task today and I'm going to film it and hopefully inspire you to have a go at this activity too. And the activity is making wildflower native seed bombs. Seems like quite an easy process. I've always wanted to make my own seed bombs. Here is a seed bomb. If you don't know what they are, you can buy them in shops, but I've never actually used these as they're intended, because what you're supposed to do is soak the cardboard and then throw them in a public space, in an abandoned area that needs more wildflowers, and seeds grow into wildflowers and it's good for bees and insects and things. But a more cost-effective way, rather than buying these, although these are quite fun, is to make your own, because all you need is soil, some sort of binder. People use clay, but I am too lazy to even buy clay, so I'm going to be using flour as my binder. And you just make this kind of mushy stuff, this kind of dough, and then you roll it into balls and roll that in your selection of wildflower seeds and leave that to dry, and then you can put a couple in your pocket when you go out on walks and throw them into ditches and see if you can bring more biodiversity to your area. And that's my plan with these seed bombs. I'm going to give some to some of my neighbours because I am part of a little guerrilla gardening group in my area. We've just started and we've taken over this area, this kind of like abandoned rubble area, which has just been left over by housing development. So we've been litter picking there, we've been disturbing the soil a bit, and then we're going to plant some wildflowers. Because don't you just find that the more economically deprived an area is, the less likely there are trees, the less likely there are flowers. Obviously less people have access to gardens and things, so it's just so important to show your community that you care about your public space. Resources and land is not equal, especially in my country. I think in the UK we only have access to 8% of land, and the rest of it is privately owned and mostly private off-limits land. Less than 1% of the British population own over half of British land, which is ridiculous. Oh, before I get started, I wanted to recommend a book that I've recently been browsing through. It's called On Guerrilla Gardening, and it's by a British author called Richard Reynolds. He's quite well known for guerrilla gardening in the UK. I wanted to read out a little passage that I thought was quite inspiring. This is a book that I thought would be about how to guerrilla garden, like different tips and what to do, and it kind of is about that, but it's mostly about like the history of guerrilla gardening and the different movements throughout the world. Gardening is a vivid form of expression. Doing it in public on land that is not yours sends an even stronger message. Society needs this kind of creativity. You might find yourself living in a beautiful house with a beautiful garden in a beautiful neighbourhood with all the comforts and food you could want. This is a popular image of an ideal city, perhaps one reinvigorated by Olympic investment or built from scratch in a desert. All manicured perfection and efficient amenities and a personality or image that fits neatly on a postcard. Yet, scratch the surface and this is hollow and unfulfilling. The small details of public places that give a space personality are being erased by globalised commerce and globalised landscape architecture, planning rules and code of conduct. Public space is increasingly anodyne. The role of people is expected to mimic that of the stickmen glued to an architect's model. We are inert decoration, only allowed to spend time in public space if we have the money to spend there too. But why should our role in this space be so controlled? As guerrilla gardeners, we do not want to walk past someone else's attractive flower beds. We want to shape that landscape and use plants to talk to people in some way. That inspired me, and this book is actually quite radical, and I like it a lot. So I hope that kind of gives you a flavour of the sorts of things that I'm interested in whilst I'm making these seed bombs. I'm not trying to be quaint, I'm trying to take back private land, and I'm trying to take back the commons. The recipe that I'm going to be using, the method I should say, is one that is on the National Trust website. The first step is to mix 10 parts soil to 1 part flour. So, some soil's in here. As is usually the case with me, I'm not very good at following rules, so I haven't measured very well. I'd say there's about 4 of these silver cups of soil in that pot. So I'm just going to put half a cup of flour in and mix it on up. So now we get some water, pour some in here. Let's see what that's like as a consistency. Golf ball sized, they said, didn't they? I definitely feel like this is just going to fall apart. But maybe you have to squeeze it really hard. I think I might put more flour in. We're baking now. We're just baking. That's alright, isn't it? That looks pretty good to me. I'll just show you some of the seeds that I have, because I've been collecting them over the past few months, ready for this moment. So the first seeds I have are cornflower seeds. I collected these from my garden once my cornflowers were over for the year, and these have not been taken out of their little seed heads yet. So what you need to do is just crush the seed head, and the little flyaway seeds are inside, and then you can just kind of sprinkle them. There they are. I love these. These are self-heal plants. Self-heals are native to where I live. I've tried to pick plants that I have seen on walks. I also got some yarrow, some bird's foot trefoil. I've also got some purple toadflax. I've seen this dotted around, and this one is a plant that does really well in little crevices and things. I've just seen it growing out of pavements and out of people's walls. I have a big packet of meadow mixture seeds. So what I'm going to do is get one of these little balls and roll it in the seeds. And then I think I might kind of like reform it and maybe push like some of the seeds in. I don't know. You're kind of making inedible energy balls. You know those ones that people make out of cacao and dates? These are not to be confused. Quentin has got one of Craig's hats in his mouth. How does he know that I can't actually stop him from being naughty right now? Kind of maybe flatten it in and then roll it into itself and then reform it into a ball. And then you've got seeds on the inside and seeds on the outside. Let me know if I'm doing this completely wrong and if you've ever made seed bombs before and whether the clay method is indeed the superior option. I thought I might have more seed bomb making chat than I actually do, but this task is taking up my entire concentration, and also I only have about half a brain today anyway. This is my favourite technique. You break the ball in half, stick seeds to one side and then push the ball together. I think the idea is that when you throw your seed bomb that it breaks and kind of splits apart. And seed bombs are a really good thing to make. No, shush. Seed bombs are a really good thing to make if you've seen a space but it's kind of like hard to access. You can just chuck these over and hope for the best. You don't have to like wade into the bushes and the brambles and whatnot. With the rest of these seeds, I think I'm just gonna go put them outside in my garden, scatter them around. Whoa, I nearly tipped them over. Here's my tray of seed bombs. I'm kind of happy with how they turned out. It's very easy to do. I'm gonna go now. This was just a quick video from me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're finding time to rest, looking out for the signs of burnout and knowing when you just need to take some time for yourself and do things that you want to do, care for your community, be out in nature, improve nature, do gardening. I'm just listing all the things that I want to do, but you can do whatever you want to do. Thank you for my patrons for being the best people ever on the internet, and thank you to you for watching this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.